Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the 2024 Springbank 10, 46%. Meat and potatoes, Dustin. Meat and potatoes.
There you go.
This is your favorite budget dram, probably best scotch for the money. Am I wrong in saying that?
If I could pay UK prices, that would be completely true.
Yes.
Here, about $100 in the US. It's kind of teetering out of my budget range, but it is kind of my budget scotch. Let's be real. It's the only one I keep rebuying at that price point consistently.
Every time you bring me one, I frown.
This is for those looking at home, the 24/7/24 release. Fairly recent, and this is part of the bottles that got damaged on their way here. I've already noticed these have already left the shelves locally, and the 15s are gone, which I've never seen the 15s and 12s go that fast.
It's the least of them, but yeah.
Well, I've just never seen them disappear from the shelf that
Correct.
fast.
Yeah, that's a bad sign is what I mean.
Yeah, that was kind of
We're not going to walk into a store and there'd be an 18 laying around.
We didn't get a single 18 in this
I was
release.
fearful of that.
That sucked.
All right, so 2024, what are we answering for the folks here? Is Springbank 10 still the consistent malt that it has been? We've talked a little bit about some shortage of cask at Springbank lately. They're kind of doing away with a few things. How about the staple? How about the basic entry-line whiskey?
You know, we've been hearing good and bad. I know the last one we brought to folks was probably my least favorite I've ever purchased. So this one I hopefully can outdo that.
Actually, this one's pretty nice. The sweetness here is a little bit... I'm talking about things that are different from normal 10s. The sweetness is a little more turned up in this one than previous 10-year-olds. But everything's here, man. This is...
A lot of baking spice going on here.
A lot of spice. A lot of spice.
Which is unusual. Usually it's not that spicy. This is almost getting into Glen Scotia spice level.
You know what? I wouldn't go that far, but... I
said almost.
Yeah, you're right. That's the right way to put it. I'm wrong. Yeah, I mean... It's just, it's got the same basic parts. A little bit funky. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm getting a wisp of smoke. I mean, it's not much here.
It's definitely lower on the smoke. I'm getting a little whisper of almost like a vanilla, like frosting or icing. Like not just like vanilla notes. I mean, of course there's vanilla, but like some actual frosting notes coming through.
Yeah, maybe these weren't a bad cast for this 10-year batch.
Yeah, almost like getting like some ginger snap. If you were to add that,
it's good enough.
Add that to like say a dried out cinnamon roll.
Okay.
So you're not getting a lot of intensity in the cinnamon.
I was going to say pastry, like just plain pastry. Just cooked cinnamon roll.
It's almost like a ginger roll or something, with a little bit of frosting.
I like that better. Yeah,
it's just a ginger snap's really dominant here for me right now.
Maybe. Sometimes I'll say banana with these, and you're saying candied vanilla, and I think we're talking about the exact same thing. But to me, it kind of comes off candied banana.
Yeah, I think that we probably are talking the same thing here. I'm getting it a little bit more on the frosting side because I'm not getting the banana distinctly here. I am getting some kind of dare I say, a light mint note coming through.
I'm back on this banana. Fondue restaurant here locally, Melting Pot. It's almost like they do have little slices of banana for the dessert. If you guys are ever in Columbus, recommend just for dessert you go there.
It's a chain, so
I use it when I'm cooking my own food. Right, I'm a little worried about bringing raw meat, But the dessert was real good. You say they have a piece of banana and you put that in white chocolate, the melted white chocolate.
I see that.
I'm getting a little bit of that melted white chocolate with banana.
I don't get any real distinct sherry notes here. I assume this is probably a 90-10, 80-20. You never know. The color tells me there's a little bit of sherry, but not a lot.
That is the color of almost every 10 to me. I mean, maybe the label does it for me too, but like that orangish.
If you line up
Chicago Bear.
I had a buddy of mine. He's got like 4 or 5 of them open. And he just did like a side by side picture. I mean, you could very distinctly pick like the order of, and he goes, And
He's always seemed pretty consistent to me. But again, natural color. There's going to be some variations year after year.
Anyway, I think this one. There's been a few I've had that had a nice like extra oomph on the sherry. This doesn't have that.
No. It is sweet though.
It is very sweet. You're right. Just up front, it is very just like inviting sweet with that interesting little ginger.
That dough, cool dough. Dough's baked, but it's cool. Indistinct dough. Very,
very, very approachable, easy. Again, this just seems like a daily sipper kind of a nose.
Yeah, at 46%, it comes off about 46%. It's not overpowering, but it's still rich.
Yeah.
We are ABV particular for sure. Higher the better. 46 we've always said is minimum for a quality whiskey. 45, 46, like that's a minimum. We like 48. I was talking with one of our subscribers, Wells Toro. He likes 50. You know what I mean? Like we were
Yeah.
kind of going back. I mean, again, we're kicking around the same numbers here, but 46 for most Scotch drinkers. That's all you need. It's plenty.
Oh, absolutely.
Plenty.
And one thing I'm also noticing here is I'm not getting any youth notes. Again, Springbank does a 10-year very surprisingly well. Because 10, especially on stuff that's light in peat, not that super heavy peat, tends to show the youth pretty well. This does a pretty good job of hiding it, but we're definitely not getting any old age notes here either.
Yes. So why that's important is peat usually hides flaws in a whiskey. So that's why you'll see Iowa distilleries like Lefroy give a 10-year, Ardbeg give a 10-year, Lagavulin. They could get up with the 12 of their special one, but yeah, I mean, usually you can't get away with your entry-level whiskey being a 10-year-old when you're in Speyside or somewhere in the Highlands. They start off at 12, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Now there are always exceptions, guys. I'm not saying this is
Well, and it's become a lot more common to sneak younger crap out there these days because of the whiskey boom. But as we know, the whiskey boom's starting to fade. Watch the age statements start coming back, boys.
Yeah,
Look
so-
at Glenmorangie, by the way. Everything that on their shelf just up the age statement. Now they don't do a 10-year anymore. They do a 12. They're going to do a 16-year La Santa. Yeah.
I might be worth checking out. But yeah, going back to this one, very standard one, a little sweeter than normal. I mean, pretty on the nose, a little bit
The
better.
sweetness and the spices, I think.
Yeah, on the nose, one of the better-ish Springbank 10s. Not the best, but if you're going 1 to 10, the best one was a 10, the worst one was a 1. It's probably 6 or 7. What are you picking up, big guy?
Oh, yeah. Classic Springbank 10. Smoke's coming out here nicely on the finish. Up front, a little bit of spiciness, but really, frankly, classic quality Springbank 10. The cookie dough, a little bit of like a yellow fruit. It's pretty oily for a 46%er, and again, that's something I complain about with some Springbank. This one actually is pretty oily. I do get a little bit of red notes coming through here.
I was going to
Hint
say
of chocolate. Maybe it's some sherry coming in.
Okay, so I agree with almost everything you said there. On top of there's a citrus note here that I think is an orange.
Okay.
I've never really got that on the Springbank 10 before. There is a twinge of an orange citrus, but yeah, smoke's a little bit more predominant here. I wouldn't say big smoke or heavy smoke.
It's not smoky.
No, it's just more substantial than the notes. Yeah, and just dough, classic Springbank. You said oily. I totally agree with that. It feels oily for 46. And again, I'm getting a citrus note. Maybe it is an orange, but it feels like an orange.
A little bit of an alcohol bite. Not intense, not rough, but just enough to where it gives it a little bit of sting in your mouth.
Yeah, and all those baking spices again. I
Yeah,
completely overlooked that. But the baking spices are the linger. Like I got that initially, and then it's a linger. All right, Dustin, I broke our 5th Glencairn. My wife's going to kill me. I broke our 5th Glencairn mug, so we're just going to go straight from the bottle. Like Bland's, straight from the barrel. We're doing the Fiji straight from the bottle.
Oh, man.
Oh, jeez. I am not made to hold delicate things. All right, Dustin, a little water here. Let's see what this introductory to Springbank for me will do with a little bit of water. And this was my first Springbank, the 10. And I said, what's the hype?
10-year-old whiskey is not the way to learn about a distillery's hype.
I still remember I ordered that, the Hazelburn 10, and then the Long Row heavily peated. Like Master Malt. It was the last thing I bought from Master Malt before they stopped shipping. And there was like a 3 gift pack for like $65 or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It was ridiculous. Or maybe it was $65 a bottle. That sounds more realistic. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was
maybe
very
even
low.
less, actually. I mean, maybe with shipping, it was $65 a bottle. Because, back then, man, you got Springbank cheap.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I got it pretty cheap, and I was like, oh, let me try these Springbank. I was like, woo.
Those early NAS long rows were not good. And I don't know what they've done with the Hazelburn 10, but it's become a beauty. But I don't remember my first one blowing my mind.
It did not. All right, just a little bit of water. Same thing.
Sweeter, I think. The spice is down, the sweetness is up.
Spice is down. Sweetness for me remains pretty
A
consistent.
little bit of oak comes through now.
That oak has almost a vanilla lemon tang to it.
I'm almost getting like honeycomb notes. Just
So you think that lemon is more of a honey?
ooh, I could see like a marmalade kind of, where we're kind of getting into that
Like
orange.
orange,
Yeah. I get you.
I never really got that on these before.
I think it's the combination of the oak and the citrus Springbank characters kind of creating that orangish note for you.
If it is oak, I'm not saying it isn't. That's pretty impressive for the age statement.
10 years should at least have some imparting of oak. Because, these are heavy bourbon barrels, too. Which they're smaller than your sherry butts or your even hogsheads.
But they're not quarter cask, and it is only 10 years.
True. Well, we're not talking about a lot of oak. We didn't even notice it until we added water.
Sure, for sure.
We're not talking about a
But
lot.
the fact that you get really any at all at 46 at 10 years is pleasant.
Yes.
It's not unheard of.
Well, and I mean, sometimes you get it on some of the sherry casks where they use like European oak, and sometimes that almost feels forced, like they just wanted to give it some oak character. This is
Like there's nothing going on. Give them something.
we're just throwing everything at you to try to get flavors in there.
Let's confuse them. Razzle dazzle.
This is nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah, pretty consistent on
I
that.
haven't put water on this one before since, it's 46 already. But yeah, that actually seems to done a really nice job with kind of bringing out the nose. And I'm getting maybe a little bit of powdered sugar. And maybe getting a hint of the smoke there on the finish. Yeah, the end.
Now with water, it's all about the sweetness up front. As soon as you swallow, it's still sweet. Spice comes trickling back in. Soft oak. Soft, insubstantial oak. And man, here it is again. A little bit of that citrus. I don't know if it's a lime or a blood orange. It's something like that.
It's definitely not a lime.
I could see like a candy lime or like a soft lime, if that makes
Key
any
lime
sense.
pie kind of thing going on there, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Definitely getting the oaks some more here. Sweetness up front is actually really impressive.
Yeah.
Actually reminding me a lot of the Springbank 12 all bourbon that we did a few years back. On the arrival, the finish is this one kind of falls apart there. But the arrival actually really reminds me a lot of that one. Nice citrus, sweet, heavily sweet.
Sweet as the show here.
Really started to bring in that funky Springbank note as well. And even the finish now, I mean, really, this is classic Springbank in its best form. No razzle-dazzle, nothing special. This is just the Springbank malt showing itself off and doing a good job right now. I'm actually pretty happy with this one.
All right, Dustin. Whiskey score time. Your bottle, I'll go first. I'm already going to tell you I'm giving this 1 point higher than it probably deserves because this is probably my most enjoyable Springbank 10. At least that I can remember. You know what I mean? We've had some ones that are pretty good before. I like the sweetness. Solid, gets out of its own way, doesn't do anything wrong. It's probably an 86, but I'm giving it an 87 because I like it.
Yeah, I'd say the best one I've had probably would have gotten an 88, bordering 89, and that was one of the releases in 2020. And that one did not last long. This one's not quite that good. I'm actually right there with you, Mike. 87. I think this is just excellent whiskey for what it is. It's simple, it's basic, it's to the point. But yet, and one thing I didn't get to touch on really, Mike, was the finish is incredible for a 10-year-old.
It does have a long
It's not a great finish in the world of whiskey, but it's a really great finish in the world of 10-year and even just 12-year-old whiskeys. Very nice finish, doing everything really well. I would say there's a few little things I can sort of nitpick on with water. The oak notes kind of were a little off during the finish. Whatever. Again, it's a 10-year-old whiskey. It's $100 or like 30 pounds, 40 pounds for those guys over in the UK if they can find one at retail.
And it's Springbank. You'd be the cool kid.
Yeah, you'll definitely impress your friends.
Yeah. All right, those are our thoughts on this 2024 Springbank 12. You say it was the July release? Is that all those?
So if you look at it, it says 24/07/24, so July 24th
All right.
of 2024, as we say in America.
We do it backwards. It makes no sense. Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this one, we'd like to know what you guys think. And if you watched that SNL skit with the guy that was trying to be Abraham Lincoln, where he's like, we're going to have our own weights and measures. I want a country where there's a word for 2,000 pounds, but not 1,000 pounds.
Washington, yes.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
How many yards in a mile? No one knows. How many feet in a mile? 5,200 and 80, obviously. Such a good joke. Anyway, we're with us on whiskey. Thank you guys for hanging around if you made it this far. Until next time, Dustin, what do we wish you folks?
Happy drinking.
See you then.